Welcome to the Zandbergen Report, where wealth strategies and investment wisdom collide, featuring your distinguished host and certified financial planner, Bart Zandbergen.
Welcome to the Zandbergen Report. A showcase for, here we go again. Now that I am on. Welcome to the Zandbergen Report, a showcase for wealth strategies and investment wisdom that's essential for our evolving world. Paul, as you can see here, I've given up control.
You have. I tried to. You got here a couple minutes late, and I tried to hold on to the big dog's chair, but didn't work.
No. And as I mentioned, just welcome to my life.
Let's show everybody here. Oh, my goodness, Bart, you've been replaced.
I've been replaced. Well, I couldn't have been replaced by two better people. So we have Letitia Burbaum, my
saved
partner.
that well. You saved that well.
Good job, huh? And then our dear friend Malia Lewis, who is an author, a doctor, a mother, a wife, and just an all-around amazing person.
And an avid podcaster, she tells me. Avid podcaster.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Letitia, this is your show.
So fun. Well, thank you, Bart, for turning over the reins. I think that's a lot of confidence there. So if you guys are tuning in and you are watching the video, I want you to take a look at this book. And so I know that Bart introduced Malia here already, but I want you guys to be able to take a look at it. And if you guys can't see it online, it's called Eat, Move, Believe, and you can find this online. And I'm going to just give you her website right in the very beginning. It's eatmovebelieve.org. And so thank you, Malia, for being here on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation to be with you guys today. I'm really excited to be here.
Of course.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about why you wrote this book?
Be happy to. There's platitude of reasons why. I guess the main reason is I wanted to help young people understand about living healthy and the basics and just the recipe for living a healthy lifestyle and achieving your goals. And then also wanted to set up an avenue to fund some of the charitable giving projects that I'm a part of. So it's a nonprofit, 100% goes to charity. And it's just it's a great thing to do and be a part of. So I'm really excited about it.
So great.
So tell us a little bit about your book, maybe some cliff notes, maybe some of your favorite parts.
About the book itself? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's 3 different character vignettes in the book. It's titled, as you said, Eat, Move, Believe. And the 3 characters on the front each kind of take a piece. So the young gal talks about eating right, the young man about moving, and then the last character about believing. And basically they start out with their problems and challenges. They're all teenagers. So the book is kind of directed towards young adults, preteens, teens, kind of in that early age range, just trying to educate young people, right, so that they can have a healthy lifestyle. But each of the teens kind of present their problem and where they're struggling, and then they all go to this seminar at their high school, and it's this lady that comes in, her name's Miss G, and she talks to them about how to solve their problems through healthy eating, through exercise, and just believing in themselves, and a little bit of a recipe for that. And then through their relationships with each other and their interactions, there's some undercurrent themes of treating each other with respect, preventing one another, kind of cautioning kids about putting other people on pedestals and thinking that other people have a perfect life when they kind of realize in their relationship that they perceive other people as perfect, or they have this great thing going on, and everybody struggles. And so it's kind of highlighting that. And the other theme is about taking ownership of yourself, of your habits, and then your lifestyle, and what that might lead to in the future. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's so great. So not only do you have the book, you also go around and you are able to have speaking arrangements and talk with people. What are some of the different organizations that you've spoken to about this book?
So I really just kind of lay that out there for friends. I've only been doing this for a few months. The book's just recently been published. I've been invited to women's groups, philanthropy groups, sports clinics, classrooms, any organization for young people. And I just get up in front of the kids and tell them how it is. And it's pretty basic and simple. And I've had some really neat experiences with the teens.
Any one particular experience that you might want to share with the audience, how maybe it's impacted their life by some of the things that you've shared by this book?
There's quite a few. I think there's a couple that stand out. Recently, I was at a high school and I was talking to a women's lacrosse team or girls lacrosse team. So, a broad swatch of teenagers, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. And I gave them my spiel about, eating healthy, eat 3 times a day, smaller meals, 2 snacks, watching your food intake, good wholesome foods, etc., exercise. And so afterwards, there was a lineup of girls that had their own questions that they didn't want to ask in front of the others. And one in particular, her face was just filled with fear, and you could tell she was upset. Yeah. And she was struggling to lose weight and share her concerns with me. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And I'm trying so hard to lose weight. And so I said, well, okay, let's break this down. Tell me what you're eating during the day. And I know you're exercising because you're in the lacrosse team. Yeah. But as she shared with me what she was eating, I looked at her and I said, honey, you're taking in about 600 calories a day, no protein, and you're starving yourself. And she didn't realize that.
But she thought she was losing weight, but she couldn't figure out why she wasn't losing any.
She couldn't figure it out. And she was very upset. And I just wanted to hug her. I just want to wrap her in a big hug and tell her, you got this. This is, we just talked about the basics, and it's really not that hard. Yeah. It's pretty simple. You got to just eat healthy food and frequent small meals.
You have that other story you shared with us. Can you share that one about the
football player?
The football player with his family.
Yeah.
I like that story.
Yeah. So that was my very first talk, and that was really fun. I think that was a great kickoff, no pun intended, because it was a bunch of football players. But yeah, a gentleman that I had met had asked me to talk to some teenagers, and that was kind of what spurred on the book, actually.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, I figured I don't want to go talk to a bunch of teenagers and, tell them what to do. I'd rather put some resources in front of them.
Tool. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so they can hear, and, we all know they take home about 5% of what you say, right?
That's right.
So I wanted to give them some tools and resources to fall back on. Yeah. So anyway, I went and talked to a group of football players, and there was a bunch of different football teams at this high school, and they put the high school, the linemen, a high school football lineman in front of me, and there was about 60 boys, maybe more. There's quite a few. And
by the way, no one can see what you look like, but you're a beautiful petite woman.
I'm very small, and yes, all these football players. They actually had a retired professional football player there, and then his buddy who were running the whole program. Yeah, and they're 6'4".
It's all these big guys.
And then there was me at 5'1" standing in between the two of these guys. It was pretty comical. We took some pictures and got a good laugh out of it. But
it's so great.
Yeah, no, I appreciated the invitation from them and the ability to meet with these boys. But yeah, I talked to them about healthy eating, and it was a really good dialogue. A lot of back and forth, and they were interested. And but afterwards, one of the young boys that had come up and asked me some specific questions, he was hemming and hawing and kind of kicking the dirt, and finally he came out with it, and he told me that he said, ma'am, my grandmother has lost her foot, and my mom lost her toes, and he said, ma'am, I don't want to lose my feet. What do I do? Because the family has obviously type 2 diabetes, and so he was watching his family suffer these terrible consequences of diabetes, and he was worried for himself, and a lot of fear in his face, and so he wanted to get more information and figure out how to prevent himself from walking down the same path. So.
That's so great, and some of the basic tools that they were able to pull out of this book is the same information that you were providing him.
Yeah, it's a small book. It's not meant to be long. It takes, 5-10 minutes to read, but it's just the basics. About it's really geared for people who haven't received just the general information about a healthy lifestyle. Yeah. So
it's basically a tool that you're able to use to be able to go in and share great resources to people. Because I don't know if you want to share some of the facts that you've seen that we've talked about in the past that it's kind of caused you to make these changes to want to be able to talk to so many people?
As far as the changes that I've gone through?
No, I think you were sharing like how many people have like diabetes or obesity, and
yes,
and you want to make the changes and educate people.
Yeah, well, along the way, you just pay attention to little facts. I obviously, being in medicine, you always pay attention to all the numbers and the facts. And you see things like the incidence of obesity in our youth in America is 1 in 5. So that's a pretty sobering number, really sobering number. And just to clarify, obesity is defined as anyone for their age and their height that's over the 95th percentile for weight. And so that's kind of how that's defined. And that's that's straight out of the, I think it was NIH that has that statistic. And then it was interesting. I wanted to look up type 2 diabetes and the frequency of that. And for youth, the latest, or the most recent statistic that I could find was from, I think, 2012. And there are, I think it was 9.4%.
Wow.
Yeah, of youth between the ages of 12 and 19 with type 2 diabetes.
And just to clarify for the listener, so type 2 is onset, right? It's something that you create from your diet, not born with? Yeah,
so type 1 diabetes is a genetic situation that you are born with, and it's where your pancreas doesn't produce insulin. So, and the insulin carries the sugars in our blood into our cells for utilization for fuels. And so type 2 diabetes it's brought on by diet, improper diet and exercise, where there's just so much sugar coming into the diet that the pancreas and the systems that are in place in our bodies to bring sugars into the cells are basically just flooded, and they become desensitized, and they don't function over time.
Wow.
Yeah. And actually in the United States, the incidence of prediabetes in our population, adult population, is about 34%.
Wow.
So there's a lot of people living right now with prediabetes, and many people don't even know it. So it's a very big impact in our medical communities. Yeah, and for people, living a lifestyle or living a life that you have all the complications that are associated with type 2 diabetes, and it makes life a challenge. So I just wanted to do my part and catch kids when they're younger to try and help them avoid that
Make a difference.
pitfall.
Yeah, it's so great.
Yeah.
Do you want to share with us a little bit about where all the proceeds are going?
Oh, I would love to.
Yeah,
I would love to. I would say that's probably 50% of why I wrote the book. So been involved with different charity groups for a long time. And the one that is near and dear to my heart is a project where a group of us go down to Mexico. And Bart's been with me down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to tell everybody about what you saw when you were down there?
Well, it was a few years ago, and I understand it's a lot different now than when we went down.
Yes, it is.
But I saw people who were very happy to see you and to see us, that were living in very, very poor means. And I saw a facility that needed a lot of work.
Yes, you did.
And I saw some houses that you built that were extremely modest, but the people that were living there seemed so happy to have a roof over their head and 4 walls, and it was very, very inspiring.
Yeah, it really is. The people we meet down there are great. So we took Bart down to Tijuana, Mexico, a couple years ago to show him this project that we'd been involved with. I've been involved for, I would say, 8 or 9 years, but the project's been going on for 30 years, and it literally is a relationship between a woman in Northern California and a pastor in in Mexico, and they got together and they just started building houses for people who need them in the communities and families. Great. And so we go down and we build probably 4, 5, 6 houses a year, depending on resources and supplies and demand down there and everything. And we also have a scholarship program for a lot of the kids in the area.
That's so great.
Education, we all know education is the jump out of poverty, right? So we try and help these kids stay in school. A lot of times the families can't afford the supplies and the lunches and the uniform. And so, so the book, 100% of the proceeds from the book go to help build houses.
So great.
In these very poor, they're called the colonias, down in Tijuana. And we've had a 30-year relationship with many of the people down in the area. So, and another fun story is one of the gentlemen that runs the project down there. He's local from Orange County, And he's worn the Futuro del Oro shirt, which is the Mexican charity portion. Okay. He wears the shirt, all over the place, and he's had strangers come up to him in the hardware store and say, "Oh my gosh, are you from Futuro? You put me through school.
Wow.
Yeah, I now work, here, and how can I help? How can I give back? Can I get my kids signed up?" So it's kind of a legacy in that community.
So great.
The program. So I love being a part of it, and of all the programs that we're involved with, my husband and I, this one had no funding. It had no consistent funding. And so that was where the book came, as I thought, well, maybe I can help kids.
Yeah.
And at the same time, get some funding flowing in for these communities. And Bart mentioned, so unfortunately, when he came down with us, we had just lost our community center facility that we had been staying in for decades. And it was actually kind of nice. And so we were transitioning to this new facility, and I mean, it was a dump. Bart showed up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's come. You couldn't have come at a worse time.
Oh, no.
But, to see everyone, how grateful they were to see you all and what you had done was really, really, really moving.
Yeah.
Super neat.
I have a really good funny story of that day, too.
Yeah.
It was a long day. Right? It takes a long time to get there. And
what do you tell?
Yeah. So, I don't know, there was a couple funny things, but this is my funny thing. So, now we're on the border coming back, and anyone who's come back from the border knows it takes a lot of time. Some people had the pass, but not the whole. We had 3 or 4 cars.
Yeah.
But, well, it's funny to me, although we all suffered. So, the pastor's son has a name and has the same name of some national criminal.
Oh, no.
When he got stopped and checked the passport, he got collected and
collected.
taken away, right?
Oh yeah, he does every time.
Yeah.
Every time we cross the border, he gets taken away.
Yeah.
He knows.
He has the same name, and he's the same age as like a terrorist.
Oh, wow.
And so, and he actually fits the description.
Yeah.
But the terrorist has tattoos, so he literally now walks into secondaries and shows them he has no tattoos, and then he walks back out. It's just kind of like a thing that we know he has to do.
Hey, guys.
It's the price he pays for going to serve that community.
Wow.
Anyway, more funny for us probably than it was for him. But
Oh, yeah. Well, Bart came down and saw this place at nearly its worst. I mean, holes in the floor, holes in the ceiling, barely functional facilities. I mean, so now it's actually thanks to your help. Very, very grateful to you for your assistance in that project. But it's now built up into a pretty nice facility. And then we've had a group of doctors just open up last week. They've opened up a clinic in kind of as part of our facility. They're using some space, and they're going to transition it into an operating theater, I guess is what they call it down there, where they can do eye surgeries.
Oh, wow.
And so it's kind of ironic how this all dovetails so nicely together, but they have a high incidence of type 2 diabetes. And so one of the complications of type 2 diabetes is problems with your eyes.
Yeah.
And so they're addressing some of the issues in the facility, with that.
so great.
Yeah, so they're in the process of translating the book into Spanish, so they can hopefully get the word out.
That's
into
so
the community.
wonderful.
Yeah.
What was your process in from knowing you wanted to continue to support this charity and then create a book? So what was your thought process, and then now as a kind of a business person, having to go through the process? Tell us about that.
How did I get this harebrained idea is what you wanted to ask me. Oh, gosh. I don't know. Well, I went through graduate school in medicine, taught medical school for many, many years. So I have all this knowledge and worked in the fitness and health and fitness community for decades. And I just figured that I had all this knowledge. I might as well use it to help people. So I had been doing some health and fitness workshops for different organizations and giving lectures on, informing people about sugar or how to lose weight or different things like that. And I guess I don't know. I really think it was that gentleman asking me to speak to his, I think it was a volleyball team. And he said his volleyball players were fainting on the court. These are high school volleyball players. They were fainting on the court because they weren't eating enough.
Wow.
And he asked me to come and talk to them. And that's when I realized, well, I've got to do something more than just talk to them. So I wrote the book. I've got an Instagram account and Facebook, so I'm trying to post every single day.
Yeah.
And what is that?
information.
Do you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, it's all pretty much
Same
the
name?
same title. Yeah, Instagram is Eat, Move, Believe for teens, and Facebook is Eat, Move, Believe. And so every day I just try and post some information that helps provide information about eating healthy, exercise, believing in yourself, positive attitude. And then I try and post a little bit about the charities. And so this, for instance, this weekend, we've got a team going down to build 2 houses in Tijuana. And so I'll post some pictures, and
So neat.
anyone who buys a book, they know that 100% goes to building those houses. So I really want the people that have supported the cause to see the house, and to see the faces of the people that are going to be living there.
How can people contribute to the organization or buy your books?
So right now, I've just got it on the website,
Okay.
eatmovebelieve.org.
Okay.
You can order there.
Okay.
And there's also, you can contact me directly through the website, send me an email, and if you'd like to donate, be happy to shuffle that along. 100% goes to either a scholarship, whatever you like, scholarship or building a home, either one.
That's great. And then are you still doing talking or are you sharing with people or with organizations?
Yes, so I offer complimentary talks to anyone that would like to know the information. Most of them, like I said, classrooms,
Okay.
sports organizations. I'm happy to talk to, non-teens and non-youth as well. But yeah, I offer my time at no cost, and the only hope is,
People buy your books
Yeah.
and donate. Yeah, that's so great.
yeah, just as a way to support the charity and keep things rolling. And my 2 main causes or hope is really to help young people, learn a healthy lifestyle and to support the children mostly and down in Tijuana and their families.
That's so great.
Yeah.
You've gone from like 0 to 100 in your from before you created the book into now your social media presence and a website and speaking. I mean, you've really built momentum.
It's been a struggle. It's not my favorite thing.
Yeah, it's hard. What's the name of the charity?
So there's a Mexican charity and there's a U.S. charity,
Okay.
and they're both of the same name. It's Futuro del Oro,
Okay.
and you can visit their site.
Can you spell that for the audience?
It's Futuro, Futuro, and then DELORO.
Perfect.
So Future of Gold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dot org.
Yes, I believe it's .org.
And they can find it through your website as well?
Yes,
Their
yeah.
links, their
Everything can be
information.
found.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And, yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to give your website one more time, and that's where they can find information for you to be able to speak, information about the book, information about the charity, and find your email. They can directly contact you.
Yes. So the website is eatmovebelieve.org. And the other thing I think I should mention is on the website is a frequently asked question page.
Oh, that's great.
And so every time I get a question emailed to me or asked, I try and pop it up there so that what I'm finding is a lot of kids are uncomfortable asking questions in front of other kids, and some are uncomfortable asking me directly. So I've had some students go on the frequently asked question page and find some answers to health concerns or
Oh, that's a good idea.
questions. So that's available too on the website. Just again,
Yeah.
a
That's great.
point of contact for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great resource.
Hey, Malia, so one of the things we get to do is ask our guests their final thought question.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you ready for it?
Yeah, I hope so.
So what is your ultimate lesson learned? Usually it's in someone's career, and now you're beyond your career, and this is your new project. But so maybe just in life, because you're so kind of holistic in life and work and charity. So
Thank you.
kind of what's your ultimate lesson learned or that you would share with our listeners?
Oh, putting me on the spot.
Yeah, I should have probably let you know ahead of time.
No, that's okay, because then you end up getting the knee jerk.
Yeah.
You end up getting the first thing that pops into someone's head, which is usually the right thing.
Yeah.
What popped into my head is treating each other with kindness.
Oh, that's great.
And also very importantly, and we don't think about this, is treating yourself with kindness. Yeah. Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, Malia, thanks so much for taking time out and
Thank you.
joining us on the
Yeah,
on the
this
show.
is wonderful.
Thank you
Great,
for
thank
inviting
you.
me. It's been a pleasure. It's goes by awfully fast, doesn't
It sure does.
Yeah. Well,
Can I say something here?
Yeah.
When she was standing on the hallway, she said, 30 minutes. How am we going to talk for
I
30
did.
minutes? That seems like a long time. And now she looks up, she's like, oh, it's over.
Yeah.
I did. You got me there.
Yeah, I know, it's so wonderful. We literally look at the time periodically because we want to be able to make sure we get all the content out that we want to be able to share with the audience, and it just goes by so fast. So
Thank you.
yeah, it's good. Well, thank you everyone for being on the show. I appreciate it, and go ahead and tune in. If you want to find us online, you can go to our podcast. We're on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Podbeam, and you would look under Zandbergen Report, Wealth Strategies and Investment Wisdom. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Tune in next week for the latest edition of the Zandbergen Report, Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Catch up on our recent shows by visiting bartzandbergen.podbean.com. The Zandbergen Report is also available on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Interested in being a featured guest on our show or have a question you'd like to hear us answer? Email podcast@bartzandbergen.com. Bart A. Zandbergen, CFP, and Letitia Burbaum, AIF, are registered investment advisors with Optivest Inc. and registered representatives with Gramercy Securities Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Investment advisory services are offered by Optivest Inc. under SEC registration.